The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports today. Kalshi is available in a ton of states, and you get $10 free with the promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, promo code SGPN. And we are back here for the college baseball experience. What's going on, everybody? After a quick 2-week hiatus, first off, the first week was planned because we were in Vegas running around with our heads cut off watching the NCAA tournament. Second weekend wasn't planned, and that was because the odds didn't come out till like 9:30 at night. And I was like, I got no time. We're doing Sweet 16, Elite 8 stuff here with the college experience. So we ended up having to punt on that show, unfortunately, but we are back. Myself, Noah Bieniek, joined alongside once again. Oh, we're here dealing with a little difficulty.
Back.
JP Sponseller. What's going on, JP? How has the month of March treated you? I know this is the baseball show, but did you pay attention to any of the basketball? And if not, how did the baseball treat you during the month?
I paid attention to a little bit. Definitely followed it more than actually watched. I actually remained pretty locked in on baseball.
Locked.
Yeah, stayed pretty dialed. It's been good. It's been weird, man. I guess as far as betting goes for me, definitely had just like some hand up bad reads. Also feel like it's just been a little bit hard to predict at times, and it's I don't know. I mean, like as far as especially this past weekend, I'll just say this: as far as the amount of sweeps, like
yeah,
part of my betting tactic over the past years, and like this could be a fail on my part or not, but I think sometimes on these like Sundays where you're trying to salvage a series, like
Sunday,
you can throw the numbers in the picture, you can throw it all out the window. And I'm taking a what was it, Arkansas minus 125 at home to not get swept on a Sunday last week. I mean, I don't know. I didn't even look at that. I just saw him at minus 125 and I bet it immediately. I didn't even look at who was pitching.
I've been screwed on back-to-back weeks, Saturday, Sunday. Like March Madness, that's the moneymaker for a lot of sports betting content out there. Like that is king, even over Super Bowl, unbelievably. So yeah, we've been just running it, and with the way that we go, we're at night doing our shows, so I sleep in, and I'm not a good morning guy at all. So I haven't gotten any Saturday or Sunday bets in back-to-back weeks, unfortunately, for the baseball side. And then the week that we had planned to take off, I was very much out of tune with college baseball. Last week I was watching a lot of the action, but still didn't have action on the games that I was watching. And I will say we got clean wiped. You texted me, "Hey, let's collab on a parlay here." And I sent you, it was 3 a.m. Las Vegas time, so it was 6 a.m. East, but for you it's probably 4 a.m. And I sent you my 3 favorite looks. You went with it, just my 3, and we got wiped. And 2 of them, it was like didn't even sniff a chance of winning.
Oh yeah, well no, and I didn't just like I liked 2 of those a lot.
Yeah.
Like 2 of those I would have bet for sure on my own. And the one was like one of those where we've had it before. I kind of like I'm not quite there. And then if you're in on it, I'm in. And yeah, the 2 of them, like they legit, the 2 of them we both liked, they got their ass kicked. And I was just like, dude, I don't even know what to say. Like,
yeah.
Friday, traditionally the most predictable day. It's like I just went 2 and 7, or like 3 and 5 on a Friday.
Yeah, we were talking pre-show, like neither one of us necessarily having the years that we want to have so far. A lot of ball left. We're only at that midway point of the year. And then you go back and look, I've got the last 3 years of like my year-to-date records and whatnot. And like I've cleaned up in the NCAA tournament and conference tournament week. So I'm not pressing the panic button personally, but I wish I would have started the year hotter. But now from here on out, fully locked in on baseball and whatnot. So, JP, you and I on this show today, Colby will be joining us for the rest of the year, most likely almost every Wednesday or almost every Thursday night show. We are recording here Wednesday night because this is Easter weekend for those that celebrate. So happy Easter. And if not, it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday weekend series this week for 75-80% of college baseball teams in the country. There are a couple of Sunday games and whatnot. And we are planning on ramping this thing up as we go along. Tuesdays can get quite hectic and do create a little bit of advantage. And those are your day that if you're lucky enough to get betting odds overnight, your best days are Thursday going into Friday and Monday going into Tuesday. I believe that is the plan to add a second show throughout the year, but we're hoping for some overnight odds. If not, we'll be talking a lot of hypotheticals and whatnot and recapping the weekend. But Colby very much wants to hop on and do 2 shows a week, and I'm all for it. JP's talked about wanting to do a little bit more because he enjoys it, and he was getting the itch to jump back on this week because we're like, we could not skip another week. But I do not have slides prepped for this week, also because of the NCAA tournament and just scheduling. I've gotten my ass kicked. But yeah, we had odds come out, Chocolata around 6:30, and then we moved the basketball show up today for some travel reasons. So we weren't able to get baseball slides, but we do have 10 games that are basically coin flips or very bettable that we're going to talk about here today on the show for Thursday's slate, April 2nd. We'll begin at 6 Eastern as the Seminoles of Florida State are minus 120. They travel to Charlottesville to play Virginia, who's minus 110. Your starting pitchers for this one, Wes Mendez, the lefty for the Seminoles on the bump, and another lefty for Virginia. They're rolling with Kyle Johnson, who's worked his way back into the weekend rotation after dealing with a little bit of an injury to start the season. JP, Wes Mendez has been one of the best arms in the country. How do you kind of determine what you're looking at in this matchup early on?
Yeah, before I get too deep into this, what I haven't had much of a pulse on Virginia as far, especially since Kyle Johnson's been the Friday guy. How has he thrown? Just because I remember last year at Duke, like he's a great athlete, he's got good stuff on the mound, great hitter, but like it was very up and down on the mound as a
Yeah,
starter.
just like you gave the scouting report there on him, pretty solid. Last week was his first outing through 3 innings, gave up 2 runs with 2 strikeouts. Actually, he said 2 starts, so I think there was a 1 inning outing, like a relief outing that they gave him, and then
Yeah.
started last week. So
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, we're talking about Wes Mendez, who, in my opinion, is a guy at this point in the year where I'm not fading really. And I know we're early, but we're getting to a halfway point in the year, and he's still got a 1.3 ERA.
yeah,
Great pitch ability. He's been absolutely lights out. We do have to bring up the loss of Miles Bailey to that lineup. And
100%.
you guys talked about it on the 11.7. I think I understand where Dimitri was going, but I like the way Jack kind of put it as far as like he is one of those select, like when you talk about someone who can really change the game, it's the Friday night starter on the mound, like who can like crush your season.
Yeah,
Usually it's not one bat, but there's honestly like a 3 or 4 in the country every year where it's like it takes a feel or a fear out of that lineup for sure. Like I'm talking like Travis Bazzana, Jack Caglione, like the guys with that kind of feel. And I think Miles Bailey is definitely one of those guys. But I mean,
When you
this
see a
lineup
6'4",
for
255-pound behemoth in the batter's box, you're like, "Oh, shit, I gotta make sure this guy's not hitting a bomb against me, or I gotta try to work around him." Like, you plan around that. You game plan around that. Now
it's
without in the lineup, it's a little bit easier to navigate.
well, yeah, and you guys mentioned it too, like the maturity he's shown in his sophomore year to have more walks than strikeouts with the way he's being pitched right now, and how bad he wants to hit. Um, so yeah, that sucks. You hate to see that. I feel like we've seen so many injuries across like big name dudes in college baseball this year. It sucks, but
It's crazy.
I do think this lineup for the past, I mean, since Link Jarrett's been there for sure. I mean, they've always hit, like they always have a history of hitting, but since Lake Jarrett's been there, it's been like a 1 through 9. I mean, these guys find a way, and it's not just the long ball. They can do a lot of things, usually run pretty well too. And I don't know. I think it's a dynamic lineup. They had quite a few guys that didn't have a ton of experience, and I think can have the capability of filling into some roles. So I did place a bet on Florida State here just because -120. I think that's a good number for Wes Mendez against anybody in any stadium. But this is a big series for Coach Pollard in Virginia. I mean, this is one of those where him and fans and everyone circle on the schedule, as you guys talked about. So,
Yeah, very much so. JP referencing a lot of what we talked about. This is on the 11.7 Pick'em series Pick'em that we'll talk about at the end of our show here today. So yeah, kind of got my pick if you listen to that episode. Um, but on Friday with Mendez on the mound, -120, I don't think is rich enough. Like, I think that price should be a little bit higher for how he's went and how Virginia's looked this season. They've kind of been pedestrian on both sides of the ball. I do think that this is a potentially huge statement weekend for UVA, and that's what my overall prediction is. I think they end up taking at least 2 or 3 against the Seminoles this weekend, not solely because of the Miles Bailey injury, but this is a Cavs team that has been 14-2 at the dish so far this season. And I believe that Florida State is one of those teams, one of those brands that when they come to your ballpark, that will get the community going. And this is one of them series that I believe were kind of heavily advertised to season ticket holders and packages and whatnot. So there's going to be a lot of people at this ballpark ready to go, and I do believe that the Who's will be able to, win the series. But game one here looks like a little bit of a hurdle with
yeah.
Johnson not really giving you a ton of length in his first 2 outings. He went 1 inning against Wake Forest when he got the start, and then 2 innings the following weekend when he got the start. So I don't know how much length he's going to give you. I think I'm going to land on Florida State with you, JP, and just gambling brain of mine. I like UVA to win the series, but I also think -120 is a great bet on FSU. It makes a
Right.
lot of sense.
Right. Yeah. And
So
I also want to say, like, I feel like we've had, I mean, since the preseason show, like Florida State's one of those teams where I feel like we had a pretty good pulse on, like,
yeah,
even before we really knew, right? Like, you never know. But as far as like Link Jarrett was going to go out and repair this bullpen, and like,
he
they've
did.
done it. And Trey
Yeah.
Beard on Saturdays stepping into that role, like, I don't. It's scary right now. Obviously, we talked about it with Miles Bailey, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're strong in a lot of other places other than just him.
Yeah, we talked about them repairing the bullpen, but honestly, their best reliever so far this year has been John Abraham, who came back. He was one of their leverage arms last year. He's got a sub 1 ERA. But Brody Purcell, who is the leverage arm for USC last year in 15 innings, he's got a 5 ERA, but he's been one of their most used relievers. Stokes also sitting with a 5 ERA with 10 innings on the mound so far. He's been a little bit more erratic with strike throwing. Purcell's been pretty accurate, but has been hit just a little bit this year. But the bullpen has been much sturdier so far this season with the help of Abraham,
I would
who
say
was
I
there last year.
do. I do want to say ERA specifically with bullpen guys across
It can,
baseball, but in college baseball specifically, I do feel like is one of those most potentially misreading stats. Like as far as just stuff and talent and
yeah,
how like I don't know. You know what I mean? There were some dudes, I'm sure you've played with guys where it's like, damn, dude, he's got like an 8 year, like he's still one of our guys. Like, I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, 1,000%. Like one little lopsided inning can wreck an ERA for an entire month for a reliever.
Mhm.
I've been there, like 4 innings a year. So, and you get thrown out there and like an 8-run game or whatever, and it's like, oh well, that is the entire month of May.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
um, but yeah, great point from you. And I think Florida State is a really good look, -120. So bet number one of the Thursday for everybody there. And we'll jump right back into the ACC with another one. We were talking pre-show that one of these teams may have landed on the no bet list while we were out of here. But Notre Dame -110 at NC State -120. We got to be announced for both teams so far. I believe one program had their game write up and did not include any of the pitchers in their game notes and whatnot. And there was not a program or a write up out yet for one other of the schools. I can't remember which is which, but pretty easy projection if the Friday guys bump up. This is one of the trickiest weekends for it, obviously. But yeah, Jack Riddell for Notre Dame, their typical Friday guy. If he gets the nod for Thursday, he's going to be the guy. And for NC State, it's been Ryan Marone all year on game one. If he gets the nod on Thursday, a little bit of a shorter week, it's a matchup that we kind of expected. Is it a price that I kind of expected? No, not really, with NC State kind of skidding here. And Riddell's been one of the better Friday night guys in the country. And you got Notre Dame at a -110 price, JP. Are you acting on that?
I'm not. I'll be honest. Like I haven't watched enough of Notre Dame, and um, I'm gonna sound like a hater. Like they're good. Um, they're a good team. Like they're very competitive in the ACC. I don't know how much weight I'm putting into their ACC wins right now. Like Duke on opening weekend ACC play,
Yeah.
lost the series against Louisville. And then Clemson, dude, Clemson's just is just in a bad place right now, and they got them in a bad place. And then when they played UNC, who I think is potentially the best team in that conference, outside I shouldn't say that. Georgia Tech is above them right now, for sure. But yeah, and they got swept by them. Yeah, I would lean like I think Ryan, how do you pronounce his last
Marone.
name? Marone. Like he's also got like a 2.4 ERA. He's kind of
Yeah.
shoved for them. And this was a team who people were high on preseason and really, really high on 2-3 weeks ago. And they've went on a 7-game skid. So like to me, it feels like a bounce back, a get back spot for them. But as you've said, they have landed. I have bet them a couple times on this skid, and they have landed themselves on my no bet list. So I'm going to stay away from this one. I do want to watch it though, because I'd like to get a better pulse on both of these teams, but Notre Dame specifically.
Yeah, I would say totally am with you on the schedule look. And you didn't even mention like NC State's schedule that they've kind of endured this 7-game losing streak of.
Yeah.
They won game one against Florida State, which was 2 weekends ago. This was first round of March Madness in the NCAA tournament. They won game one, lost game two and game three of that series. They lose the midweek to Campbell, and then they get Georgia Tech, and they get swept there, but they were competitive in games one and two. The common denominator there is Ryan Marone's giving them a chance to win game one in back-to-back series against two of, I think, the best three teams currently in the
Right.
ACC. So I do think that we're kind of in the right space of like the minus 110 price is enticing on Riddell. He's been great this year. He's faced good competition too. He's 3-1 with a 2.41 ERA and 41 innings. He has 54 strikeouts and just 7 walks with a 161 batting average against. You look under the hood, the advanced analytics are fine. 360 FIP and a 178 Sierra. Um, you, I think he goes well. I think Marone's going to go well. This is an under look for me when those totals drop tomorrow morning. And I'd be looking at maybe an NC State bounce back weekend in agreement with you.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say on this game before we move on?
No, just that if NC State comes out and rocks Riddell for whatever reason, like look, I'm looking for them Saturday and Sunday to like. Obviously, I think the price could change, but if it's even around like 140, 150, I don't know. I'm going to look for them to kind of respond and answer this weekend potentially.
Pedal
I
to the
don't know.
metal.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. We're going to take a quick minute break to talk to you guys about our sport, baseball, which is back in the professional side of things. And the MLB Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is, there for you guys. Daily picks and podcasts breaking down all of the action in the professional ranks. Get it over on the SGPN app or wherever you get your podcasts today. And we are also brought to you by SeatGeek, as SeatGeek is one of the best deals in all of ticketing, and it's the best mobile app out there with over 35 million downloads. SeatGeek, the number one ticketing app out there. There are more than 70,000 events listed on their app, including concerts, sports, festivals, and plenty more. You got the Final Four in both the NCAA tournament and the NIT happening in Indianapolis. You have the Frozen Four happening in Las Vegas, and multiple millions of college baseball games that are going on every single weekend, almost every day of the week. You can go over to use the promo code SGPN at SeatGeek today for a 10% off your next purchase of tickets at SeatGeek. That is 10% off any tickets with the promo code SGPN10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. And we are also brought to you by Kalshi, as they are a real money prediction market, legal in a ton of states. Kalshi has a ton of trading options for your favorite sports. New Kalshi customers get $10 when they use the promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. And the college baseball experience is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, who has you covered in almost every sport. The first couple of weekends, they were having player projections on some of the bigger pitchers in college baseball on Fridays. Underdog has just increased their payouts too. 2-pick entries now pay 3.5x, and 3-pick entries now pay 6.5x your entry. I went with a Merez Johnson higher than points and a Alex Caravan higher than points, rebounds, and assists combo entry over there at Underdog Fantasy for the Final Four. And Underdog has a brand new offer for new customers where you can just play $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN. Yes, that is correct. The college experience has their very own promo code that is TCESGPN. Play $5 and get $50 in bonus funds. And we are back here on the college baseball experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, and my voice is getting a little bit raspier as we go along. And JP is going to help me out. JP, fantastic co-host, knows his ball and has been following it all season long. JP, also the host of the Head First podcast that does amazing work, and also doing some Bishel ball recordings as well. Head First podcast on Saturdays for the pregame is pretty good content with you and your Cincy boys. So very much love that. And I will
Appreciate
say
that. Appreciate the
who is
shout
the
out.
guest? Who is the guest on last week. So I missed the last 2 weeks, but you had Trey Richardson, you had Jack DeLongshaw. Who were some of the other guests you had on your game day?
We had Tanner Allen on last
Okay.
week, which is cool. I mean, anytime you have like national champ on, that was pretty cool. We had Zachary Sim on, who he's been covering Texas for a
Yeah,
while, works
he's
with
the
the
man.
Orange Bloods. He was a great dude. Let me pull up. We had Hayden Schott from Texas A&M. He's a
Cool.
character, so that was entertaining as always. And BP Quiggs. I
Oh,
know Ben
Quiggs.
and them
Yeah,
know him a little bit more,
Quiggs
who
the
have
man.
been he's been a fan of 11.7 for a while. But yeah, we had Quiggs on there when I was down at Coastal. We thought that was fitting.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, he's a super fan of Coastal Carolina baseball, and shout out to the Bat beer chugs. So
yeah, he
uh
loves them. It's
is able
great.
to slam them back. That is for sure.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of a couple of fan bases that can slam them back, we head to the Big East for a big one. You got UConn right now, who's currently 2-1 in league. There's only been one series played so far in the Big East, but Creighton was a team that I was really looking forward to uh, when they got into conference play under coach Mark Kingston in his first year at the helm in Omaha. Um, in this series, so Ed Service was the former head coach of Creighton. He retired last year. UConn is 9-1 against the Blue Jays in the last 10 matchups. That's including Big East tournament games and whatnot. So the Huskies have just had Creighton's number for whatever reason. We'll see if the tide turns in the Kingston era. This is the first matchup they'll play. And again, another one TBA for both teams. Neither write-up had the pitchers projected, but again, if we're slating the Friday guys, the typical game ones to throw on Thursday, for Creighton, that would be Jack Pino. And for UConn, that would be Charlie West. West, one of your premier left-handers in the country there. And Pino, I have to admit, I have not caught a ton of him in like through the screen for whatever reason, just have missed a lot of Creighton game ones this season. So my handicap is a little bit handicapped for that reason in this matchup. But I do believe that the strength of the Creighton team was the pitching staff, and he's been good. In 37.1 innings, he's got 43 strikeouts, 11 walks, and a 3.62 ERA. JP, Pino, West, how do you see this matchup going down between Creighton and UConn?
Yeah, I mean West has had a pretty up and down year. He's coming off a good start in a series win against Xavier at home, which that's a big deal for UConn, right? Like, you know how it is being on a team in the North. Like, I don't, we'd be on the road for the first. I mean, UConn's played 6 home games all year, and three of
Mhm.
those or four of those maybe were this past week. And it just kind of feels like this is that time of the year for them where it's like it's time to lock in, get rolling in conference play, and make a run at the Big East, and that's how you get in your regional. Like, to be honest, it is very hard. I mean, we've seen good UConn teams, good Xavier teams who schedule hard, and it's really hard to get an at-large bid in the Big East. It just is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm staying away from it too, especially if it was at like it's at 175. If it was at minus 130 or 40, I'd maybe give UConn a sniff. But yeah, I don't have much of a pulse on either of these teams, and I just think it truly is kind of a coin flip because, like you said, Mark Kingston and Creighton, like, I respect that squad, and yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, the across the board, and you mentioned like the top two, top three programs in this league, Creighton, UConn, Xavier, all do a really good job of scheduling in the non-conference to challenge themselves. So the offensive numbers for a lot of these teams in this league are a little bit down than you would expect. Pitching numbers not necessarily as pretty. But you said like West got into conference play, had a nice start, and that kind of momentum builds throughout the year as they have kind of played the toughest opponents they'll see all the way up until late May. Um, and Xavier's again one of the title contenders in the regular season this year. And
Xavier's down this year, but I just think like in the grand scheme of things, traditionally, like you beat Xavier 2 out of 3 in the first weekend of Big East play, like you're feeling
yeah,
good about things. And I also want to put some weight into they beat Northeastern, who like that's a good midweek battle for them, and it has been for a while. They beat them like 25-6 or something. So like I know we don't put a ton of weight into those games, but as far as just like good vibes for the squad, I think those boys are feeling pretty good right now.
yeah, leave it to the Cincy guy that jumped towards the statement that Xavier's down this year, but losing a series to Evansville maybe are a little bit having a down year, but
I'm saying they beat Cincinnati in a midweek, so I that
uh
makes me mad. I can't be too. No, I actually respect Xavier though. Like I don't like them, but they have. I mean, yeah, they have good teams and they challenge themselves, and I just think this team is not as good as the teams they've had the past few years. But
yeah, and that Charlie West start, that was a 3-1 game. Hey, big hit either way. Either extends a lead because UConn had a 3-run inning in that one, or maybe it's 1-0 game. So uh that's the thin margins in Big East baseball. But I'll I will take UConn. I'll go with that trend of just Penders has had Creighton's number, and this is a tough, uh, you know, for um, gosh, I'm so for Creighton, it's the toughest travel spot in the entire Big East, heading from Omaha to the Northeast. Uh, I think that factors into the trend as well. So we will go with UConn in this matchup. Is that where you're heading as well?
yes,
All right. Let's head down to the Southeastern Conference. And we were talking pre show. I think we're going to align on this being one of our favorite bets. And this is a real simple handicap when you get down to it. But we're gonna talk a little bit about Ole Miss at Florida. The Rebels are plus 105 and the Gators are minus 135. The pitching matchup is Taylor Rabe for the Rebs and Liam Peterson against Florida. Is it as simple as that, JP, or is it a little bit more that you went into here?
it's not as simple as that, but as far as the price, it is. Like this is one where simply I don't think Vegas knew that this is Liam Peterson going against a non-traditional Friday guy. And
Yeah.
I respect Ole Miss. I think both teams are in a somewhat of a weird spot. Ole Miss just got swept by their rival at home. I think some fans are getting to that point that after, I mean, we saw it with their rival in Lamonas 4 or 5 years after the national championship. They're getting itching for some more success. And you had the Gators who got swept at Alabama. Sullivan obviously ripped them to shreds. They
Yeah.
sweep Arkansas on the road. Then they lose last night to Jacksonville.
Yeah, midweek. Yep.
So I think he also probably tore them to shreds last night in the Sully way. So it's not that simple, but as far as the price and yeah, I'm putting a lot of weight into. I know people are so about Arkansas right now, but as far as a response and yeah, I don't know. Gators at home. Liam Peterson, one of the best pitchers in the country. And I will say we need to put some respect on him too. Cause I know after his first start against UAB, a
Yeah.
couple people challenged that maybe he didn't take the maturity step that we thought he should have. And I think
No,
he's proven that
yeah.
this far he has. He's been lights out this year.
Yeah, no, he's been totally fine. On the bump for the entire year. He's yet to have recorded a win, but again, kind of pitching records can
Has he
kind of get
really not
thrown.
recorded a win?
I don't know, but I like throwing it out there just to say that he hasn't recorded a win.
Damn.
But he's got a 3.67 ERA, 55 strikeouts, and 34.1 innings. And of those 22 walks, a lot of them came early on in the year. And Ray, he's been a reliever, kind of piggybacking Hunter Elliott a lot in these game ones. Last week, he did get a start for 2 innings against Texas. It did not go as smoothly as some of his relief outings. And for me, I agree with you. It's more. This was priced as a Liam Peterson up against Hunter Elliott game, and we're not getting that. And I think that's a slam dunk. You got to bet Florida here,
Yeah.
-135. You mentioned the spot. Florida off the midweek loss against Jacksonville. Sully's going to be able to motivate the guys. I think that Florida is the move here on Friday night, and it's one of the better bets you can make on the entire board.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I don't want to like sway us here, but I do want to point out like Ole Miss went on the road against Texas and then got Mississippi State, who's red hot at home. So like
Ole Miss is the
tough
toughest SEC
schedule.
schedule
Yeah.
the entire year.
And
They've got this
I
all year
actually
long, man.
I think that team has some talent, and they
Yeah.
left a ton of guys on base last weekend. So like it scares me a little bit that it's just that like baseball regressive mean blow up spot for Ole Miss. But yeah, I'm betting this edge and this spot, I'm betting it 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, and you make a solid point there for Ole Miss. I'll jump back in. Yes, they faced a tough schedule. It's not going to get any easier for the Rebs. Currently, the offense 15th in batting average. Like their main source of runs have come via the long ball. And Liam Peterson, Aiden King, Cooper McNeely, or Liam McNeely, Cooper Walls, combine the two there for a second. I just think they'll be able to dictate a lot of the early game script in this series and be able to keep that Ole Miss lineup down in the swamp there. So Florida, another good bet as we move on to this one's interesting. This is an interesting handicap. We got at 8 Eastern under the lights at Jack Coombs Field. Louisville travels to Duke. The Cardinals are -145, Duke +114 in this matchup. We have a to be announced on Louisville. So what has happened the last 2 weeks is they've removed Ethan Eberle from the starting rotation, their former Friday night starter. They didn't really replace him with a go-to starter, and now they're in a pinch where it doesn't look like they have an arm who's started some games this season with any experience starting games. Doesn't look like any of them are good to go equal rest on this one. And according to the Duke team write-up, Wyatt Danilovich is going on Friday. He's been their typical Saturday guy. And on Sunday, the name is slipping, but he's gone on, or sorry, the Saturday game has been the typical Sunday guy. So unsure where Louisville's headed. For Duke, it's Peter Lemke, and this is his first start on the season. Lemke for Duke has been a reliever, one of their best in 28 innings. He's got 31 strikeouts and a 3.86 ERA. How many innings is he going to give him? I don't know, but that kind of, to me, this has an offensive game script written all over it, right, JP?
Yeah, I'm looking for overs here all weekend is the only thing I will be betting. Louisville has also put themselves on my no bet list. I respect Pitt, and I think they're having a good year, and they're a good team, and they're better than I expected them to be. But I don't. I've just bet Louisville they're just way too unpredictable. I think they're capable of things, but on the mound, it's unpredictable, and even the offense at times hasn't been great.
It's been spotty, but when it shows up big.
Oh yeah, no, I mean they could put up runs, and Louisville also just hasn't really played on the road very much this year. They've played at those neutral sites, but they have not really played much on the road. Yeah, I'm totally staying away from a side in this one all series. If anything, just to maybe throw some hate on Louisville losing me money, I'd go the Dukies +110. Definitely not laying minus 150 on the cards, but yeah, I'm looking for overs here, and that's about it.
Yeah, totally agree there. I don't think I really have much to add to that handicap other than yeah, they've got the one road series at North Carolina. They go 1-2. They got run ruled in one of them, and then they lost the game by one run. That's just Louisville baseball for you. And yeah, the offense is third highest or second highest batting average, third highest OPS in the league. But they've just had a couple of clunkers offensively. You look at opening weekend against Michigan State. You look at that loss to North Carolina at 11-1. You've got a couple of lower scoring outputs, and you've got a couple of outputs in the teens. So I'm hoping for one on that end of the spectrum, and we can
Say
get an over here. Go ahead.
I should take that back. I should put a little bit more respect on their offense. I mean, you can't expect offenses to put up 10 runs a game, and it just shows you though, like how much pitching. I mean, how important pitching is. Like it just helps you win so many more games if you can keep teams under 5 or 6 runs.
Yeah.
When you have a good offense. But yeah, they just haven't really been able to put it together this year.
Yeah, they've scored 271 in 29 games. So they're averaging just under 10 runs a game.
Yeah, I mean that's really really good. So
And you still can't just tally up the wins as a like top tier team in the nation. They're averaging 9.3 runs a game and they're 18-11.
yeah,
So that's just the state of the pitching staff over there right now, but also just some days they're pitching it well and the lineup doesn't show up. So just not really aligned consistency wise on both sides of the ball right now for the Cardinals, which makes it hard to bet, but good for overs.
yeah,
Game number what is this now? 6. Let's talk about the state of Arkansas. We've got 2 games back to back here. Let's do Arkansas at Auburn as Arkansas just got swept at home to Florida. I put that thing on things you didn't see for 500 over at Jeopardy for me, um, and or things you didn't see coming for 500. And then Auburn minus 130, Hogs plus 100 in this matchup. Arkansas is moving Gabe Gackle up just the one day. He only threw about 50 pitches last Friday. It was not his day, not his outing. And Auburn is not going with their typical Friday guy, is Andres Alvarez, who's had a great year up until this point. He's done perfectly fine. For me, the biggest kind of the thing that gives me cold feet on wanting to just smash Auburn, as both of these teams are coming off sweeps, but Auburn off a sweep at Alabama, their in-state rival, now coming back home. Outstanding fan atmosphere, typically at Plainsman Park the last couple of years. It's only gotten better, and Arkansas, one of those big name programs that is going to bring out so many fans for this Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Like I want to smash Auburn. The thing is, though, is you see this sometimes in sports where sometimes the your home field is such a bubbling cauldron of nervous energy or energy not necessarily all positive. And when things are going bad in Arkansas, in Fayetteville, things can kind of boil over. I think a weekend away from Fayetteville may, if we come around next week and Arkansas wins the series 2-1 or 3-0, that's a narrative. It's like a
yeah,
weekend away from Fayetteville, it helped them. But I want to smash Auburn here. That's just where I am internally. And I think that Gabe Gackle has bounced back. I think Alvarez throws fine. Looking for unders in this matchup. Do you have a pick for the side, JP? Gabe Gackle, Andreas Alvarez, Arkansas, Auburn.
yeah. I'll start this with I have a unit on Auburn right now, and simply for the read that you just described. I want to say you bring up a really good point. I mean, I had mentioned this even with art like even if it's not a hostile environment, sometimes in college baseball, just a change of scenery in general. We've talked about getting back home after a road trip, or for sometimes it's getting out of town and getting on the road to kind of change the mojo a little bit. But I also think this has the potential to be a really tough spot to bounce back in. I think that they're going to have a good crowd tomorrow night in Auburn. One that does scare me about Alvarez is this will be his first weekend start. He has a
Yeah, I
point
will.
3 EA, but he's been their midweek guy and he's been lights out. But
Yeah,
SEC Fridays and weekends are a little bit different ball games, so that scares me a little bit.
I will pour cold water on the fact that like the Georgia Tech start, very impressive. Again, this was during the week while I was in Vegas on an absolute bender, but he had a 10 strikeout start in 5 innings against the Yellow Jackets, one of your better offenses in the country during the midweek. And then followed that up with a 7 inning, 8 strikeout, only 4 hits against South Bama, who's a solid program. That's earned him the nod to go Thursday in game one of this series. And that's ultimately like kind of given me more faith on Auburn in this spot,
I was just
but more faith for the under, I think.
yeah. Yeah, I like the under, especially with Gackle going. And the other thing I wanted to say was like Arkansas's lineup right now isn't scaring me a ton to like shy
Yeah,
away from the first Friday night start thing. And you make a good point, like these teams he started against in the midweek, like UAB, South Alabama, like those teams
Cincy.
put up runs. Cincy, like he threw well against them. They're really the only team that have like scored runs against them. And then yeah, you talk about like that's also a day where Georgia Tech's showing up. Like I don't care who you, whenever you show up in a midweek, you're looking to put up offensive numbers, and it doesn't matter who you
Yeah,
play. And he went up against one of the best lineups in the country and shut him out. So I think there's some weight to his midweek starts, maybe more than
a typical midweek
some other
Auburn one.
guys. Yeah, yeah. Some other schedules that you could look at in the midweek.
Yeah, and he started a handful of SEC games. He didn't start a ton last year. I'm going to look that up right now. He
Okay.
started a handful for them. He had a in conference play. He was rocking a yeah. We'll not mention that for the faith of having still confidence, but as a freshman, he had an 8.80 ERA in the SEC. But uh, yeah, so first start in the SEC at home against Arkansas has kind of been struggling at the plate. And the more we talk about it, the more we're going to try to talk ourselves in circles in this game. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and move on. Stay in the state of Arkansas as technically state of Alabama, as we have another Arkansas team playing in Alabama at Troy. The Red Wolves are minus 154, the road favorite against the Trojans plus 120. Let's paint the picture a little bit. Arkansas State currently believe tied for fourth in the Sun Belt. They've been going all right. And Troy, Arkansas State won the series against Southern Miss that first round weekend during March Madness in the NCAA tournament. So those that were like me and locked in on college basketball, Arkansas State has a huge series win this year, and they deserve a lot of respect. Troy's been scuffling, and they're sitting 4-5 in Sun Belt right now, plus 120 at home as a short dog. For Arkansas State, it's going to be Chase Richter, their left-hander, up against Troy's left-hander, Benjamin Stubbs. JP, this one more on here because it's a coin flip game. Very solid series. Troy had preseason expectations. Arkansas State was a team that I was suspecting was going to be good, and they have been. But for some others, they've been the surprise team in the Sun Belt. A nice matchup here down in Alabama. How are you deciphering between the two teams, and what's your read on this game?
Yeah, I think this is, you said it perfectly, a total coin flip of a game. And I think that's what makes this conference so fun to watch. If you're someone who enjoys mid-major sports and college baseball, like the Sun Belt is awesome. And yeah, Arkansas State hasn't looked as promising as maybe people when people jumped on the wagon after those midweek wins against Arkansas and the Southern Miss series win, they've dropped a couple games since then where people haven't maybe expected them to. And yeah, Troy's been scuffling. They're getting back at home. Like, this is a huge series for them at home. And this conference in general is just a dogfight. Like, I'm staying away from this one. If anything, I kind of like Troy at plus 120, like with some juice. But yeah, I just don't think I think you're lying if you have like a confident read on this game, if we're being honest.
Yeah, if anything, it's just been the biggest handicap that you could have or edge that you could have is just Troy's pitching has kind of really lost its step, especially as it's gotten into Sunbelt play. Arkansas State last year, top 40 ERA, top 40 staff. This year, 367 on the season, second best pitching staff in the Sunbelt. Like, pitching travels. That's my biggest thing. It's like handicapping games and how to determine consistency. The Red Wolves have it with, keeping games at least within reach with the strong pitching staff. Yeah, Arkansas State has been a team that I've liked from the get-go this year, and I'm gonna ride the minus 154, but it's not something that I would advise betting on because Troy actually does have a really good home atmosphere in the Sun Belt as well. And yeah, anything else?
The price I saw Arkansas State at was like minus 175 on MGM. So minus 150, I'd be like a little bit more betting wise, like more willing to do that opposed to minus 175. But still, I don't know. I think it's a coin flip.
Yeah, this one, it's a again. We like to talk about the best games of the weekend and ones that we should be keeping an eye on and watching throughout, and not necessarily is the most advantageous and spot for betting on it. But yeah, Arkansas State Troy, one of the best games of the weekend, no doubt. Let's talk about one of the best tools to use when you're looking to bet on MLB games, and that would be Rhythm. Rhythm is your official data tool for dominating the madness of college hoops. Also on the diamond in the MLB, as their projections are now live, and they continue their NBA props heater. If you're looking to go premium with Rhythm, it is your own AI model. Use the promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. You can use the promo code SGPN25, get 25% off. Download the Rhythm app. Use the promo code SGPN25 for 25% off your first month. We're also brought to you by NoVig. NoVig is America's #1 sports prediction market, and they are giving you the best prices out there. Download the NoVig app today and get $50 when you spend $5 if you use the promo code SGPN. That is SGPN, the promo code, spend $5, get $50. Get in on the action today over at NoVig with the promo code SGPN. And we've only got a few days. We've extended this to, I believe it was April 6th. Merch Madness over at the sportsgamblingpodcast.com store. 15% off everything right now with the promo code March. We just launched the Lookin Live t-shirts for in honor of everybody kind of tweeting at us, and that's just been the tagline for Lookin Live and watching the college experience, or looking live inside an arena or at the ballpark or at stadium, watching college sports, professional sports, what have you. Looking live, the t-shirt to wear to a game or to support the college experience. So jump over there to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, 15% off with the promo code March. And we are back home free here on the college baseball experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, joined alongside JP Sponseller, who does a tremendous job also with the Head First podcast. covering Cincinnati baseball and college baseball on the national scale. The next game on our slate that we're going to talk about, we're heading to the Southland as Northwestern State currently is sitting atop the standings early in the season, but still worth talking about as the Demons are minus 105 at the Vaqueros of UT Rio Grande. And UTRGV is minus 125 in this matchup. Northwestern State is going with Brody Trusclair here on Thursday. For a lot of the season, this has been one of the best relievers in the country. He's gotten a few starts here and there. And UTRGV is going with Sergio Lopez, who's been their Friday guy all season long. He's gotten better as the season's gone along. He was the McNeese transfer from last season. He had a great year with the Pokes. This year, I feel like another year in the league. Scouting reports gotten a little bit better against Lopez JP. For me, I think I want to be on Northwestern State in this matchup. Is it something that I'm running to the window to bet? No, not necessarily, but I'm curious your read on the matchup between the Demons and Vaqueros.
Yeah, I mean, the Vaqueros were a team that we were kind of high on at first. Who did you say you had starting for Northwestern State?
Brody Trusclair. He's 4-1 on the year with a 1.36 ERA. He's got 51 strikeouts, which is the fewest innings to get to 51. He's thrown 33 with just 8 walks.
Yeah, and I do think like he does have 4 starts, so he's getting there on like getting in his routine. I know you mentioned he started as a reliever.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, like what was this minus 115? Like this is a pick'em game, right?
Yeah, it was pretty coin flippy.
And
I minus 105 on Northwestern State actually.
yeah, I mean, to me, just like as up and down as UTRGV has been, especially on the pitching side of things. And I think their starter had what, like a 5 ERA, you mentioned?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going with a 1.36 ERA on the bump. Like to me, picking this, I think like you said it perfectly. I'm not running to the door to bet this, and I haven't decided if I'm even going to do it or not yet. But like minus 105 or minus 115 in this pitching matchup, I think you got to take it.
Yeah,
I think that's got to be the side you're on at least.
This is a matchup that I'm not like super eager to bet, especially when you look at the strengths of the schedule that both of these teams have played. When you're looking at just flat stats halfway through the year, sample size aren't huge, especially in conference play. But UTRGV's played the much better competition up to this point. Like they hosted Kansas in a weekend series. They were at Houston. Northwestern State's non-conference schedule was 245. So a series against UT Arlington, a series against Central Arkansas. They did play Southeastern Louisiana early in conference play, and they lost 2-3 at home there. That's probably the toughest opponent they've faced up until this year. But Trusclair is the real deal. So very much a fan of his, and he's been one of the best arms in mid-major college baseball up until this point of the year. So the Demons are the pick for now in that matchup. Let's talk about if you were like me and missed the college baseball action during the first round of the NCAA tournament. Tyler Fay has just emerged as a household name in college baseball after a no-hitter against Florida, and then just hey, some guys have a little bit of a hangover or possible troubles, back-to-back starts after that no-hitter, maintaining that consistency or being as dominant. No, he had no issue against the Auburn Tigers. Tyler Fay has been that guy the last 2 weeks. And he's going up against LJ Mercurius, who started the year very good for Oklahoma as their best starting pitcher. He was going on Saturdays. Last weekend, they flipped him over Cam Johnson. They moved Mercurius to Thursday. Oklahoma had a Thursday through Saturday series just as an SEC scheduling thing. So they're keeping Mercurius on Thursday, but his last 3 starts or 4 starts, all specifically SEC, has not been as smooth as when he began the year, albeit great competition when he began the year. What's your read on Mercurius and this game in general? Because I think it's really interesting. Alabama's won 6 straight home games in the SEC, but they were swept at Kentucky. Now they head back on the road to Oklahoma, who's got a very similar play style as Kentucky.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think I have more of a read on Alabama in this one. If you want to take Mercurius and Oklahoma, if that's fine with you.
Yeah,
Okay, but I just had three guys from Alabama: Justin LeBron, Luke Vaughn, and Will Platner from Alabama on the pod this week. And I know they got swept on the road at Kentucky, and then they come back and sweep Florida, sweep their rival at Auburn. Those Kentucky games were close games, though,
yeah,
all within 2 to 3 runs. And I do want to mention they played Jacksonville State last night, who was red hot and kind of got a late inning, like big time home run. It feels like something in that offense has clicked, and they have a lot more confidence than they maybe did 3 weeks ago. And Tyler Fay does too. And I think they kind of said it like that no hitter from him is literally when at least this spark, whether it's going to keep rolling or not, when this started. And I think
true.
this team is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. So I am almost leaning towards riding Alabama and Tyler Fay and the hot team. But again, Oklahoma getting swept at Texas against their rival. Very, very good team. Like this just feels like a get right spot for them, and they've played really, really well at home. So I don't know. I want to hear your read.
My read is pretty similar to yours. Like, I feel stronger about Alabama and how well they've played the last 6 games. I also do love, uh, the home road splits and Kentucky, very similar play style to Oklahoma, like I already mentioned. Pulling out those three, uh, you mentioned tight games, but that's typically how kind of Kentucky and Oklahoma games go in the
Yeah.
ACC. So, but the thing that gives me, complete pause from going in on Oklahoma at -130, the slight favorite in this matchup, is Mercurius, the UNLV transfer in 3 SEC starts, has a 9.49 ERA.
Yeah.
He's allowed 13 runs in 12 innings. It just doesn't necessarily fly. I thought he had good stuff. I watched him in person, uh, but through 3 starts, it's not been the prettiest thing. The offenses he's faced, by the way, so he's faced Texas, Texas A&M, both of them pretty good. I'm curious. This is so off topic. What in the world has happened with LSU the last 2 weeks
Dude.
for those that have not been as locked in? But this was something that I had seen with the Tigers. They struggled a little bit when I watched them play in Jacksonville, and it seems like the wheels come off. Uh,
Yeah. It's crazy. It's the best way to describe it is just like that new age portal. I guess we haven't seen it like a ton, but it's that traditional national championship hangover where like you have a ton of talent on that team and they're capable of putting it together at any time. It
yeah.
reminds me a lot right now of a Texas A&M last year, if we're being honest, with
Okay.
with more with more talent
Yeah.
and the lineup, I think.
Because yeah, Mercurius got rocked by A&M and Texas, but he went all right against LSU. So it's LSU's clearly in a different spot than A&M and Texas are offensively right now. They've
Yeah.
got some issues that they got to iron it out. But yeah, that's kind of my read. Like Faye has been unbelievable. Mercurius has been rocky. And
Mhm.
I mean, that's your biggest factor when determining how games are going to go in college baseball. It's already as unpredictable as it can be. Your best way of trying to predict is how good are the starting pitchers going to go in a given game. And
So
right now, Faye has it figured out.
the other thing is like Faye's been unbelievable for 2 weeks. Like
Yeah.
his start at Kentucky wasn't great. So I mean, I don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And to your point too, like if you look at season-long stats, Alabama offensively, 14th in average in the league, 10th in OPS, in homers, they're 10th as well. But I can't necessarily give you the time span, but what you can look at is runs per game. They are so much higher in the last 2 weeks than they
Yeah.
were first 4 weeks, and you wouldn't necessarily think that with the non-conference schedule that they played that included, like, a Rhode Island and North Florida, but,
Right.
they've just been hitting it and seeing the ball so well right now. So, to your point with after interviewing some of the guys, it's just vibes, it's momentum. It's a
Yeah.
crazy thing in college baseball.
I'll say those boys, they're feeling good right now.
As they should be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think my pick is I want to slam the brakes against Alabama with them hitting the road, but I can't. I can't. Not in this game at least. And then Cam Johnson, I have no faith in really throwing strikes. He had a nice outing, at least a positive outing, thinking that you could maybe string some together against Texas last weekend, but still, it's nothing that I feel confident enough betting. So, Alabama for me as well in this one. And that brings us to our 10th and final game on the rundown for this episode. We are talking 11.7 pick'em. We are talking best bets afterwards. We're recapping the best bets. But the final series or game that we're talking about on Thursday, it is in the 11.7 series pick'em for what it's worth, is Santa Barbara at Cal Poly. Now, if this is when we were talking at the top of the show, I think it was Florida State, Virginia. You can handicap the series one way, and you can handicap one specific game the other. Jackson Flora on the mound against Griffin Ness for Cal Poly. Flora's been unbelievable. The best mid-major pitcher, best pitcher, honestly, in college baseball. The stuff is undeniable. But Barbara's minus 175, and the offense just has not been hitting the last 2 weeks. This is still a team that I believe in a ton, but they've lost 8 of the last 10 games. Cal Poly's the best offense in the Big West, and they're catching a plus 135 price that I think it's hard to ignore with their dog on the mound in Griffin Ness, JP.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, we talked about Cal Poly in the Big West in general preseason. And I feel like after they got swept by USC, a lot of people kind of forgot about them. And then maybe people are putting stock into like, okay, maybe USC is actually just pretty damn good. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone has you can have a bad weekend. And this team's been red hot since. They're 10-2 in the conference. To me, it's extremely hard. Like I talked about it with Wes Mendez. You don't have to bet it. Like I don't think I'm betting you see Santa Barbara at minus 175. I
Yeah.
would tell people to probably take Cal Poly, but
Mm-hmm.
like Jackson Flora is just one of those guys,
He's
man,
tough
where
to
like,
fade.
yeah, it's just tough to get me to pull the trigger on.
Yeah. I mean, just sit down, watch yourself a Jackson Flora game and know the feeling because this dude's unreal.
I mean, I
He's
think,
a slam dunk top 5 pick in the MLB draft.
yeah, I think just watching him and like the way it's played out the past few years, I mean, I would not be shocked if he's throwing in the big leagues in some sort of capacity
Yeah.
in the next, I'll give him 3 years. Like, I
It
feel
was
like that's
it was a hot take last year. He's better than Bremner, dude. He's
mhm.
better than Bremner. Bremner had the advantage of starting as a freshman and building up like these crazy career statistics at UCSB. This kid's stuff's better. It just is.
It's like, are we going to see that in Gainesville next year? Maybe.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know. I think I've talked highly of Liam Peterson. I think he's a dog, but I think Aiden King is for real.
Very much
And it
could see that
seems
play out.
like last year with Santa Barbara, where like
Yeah.
Bremner was getting all the draft attention, and it's like, wait, who's this other kid? Like,
Yeah. Very true. Very much could happen there in Gainesville. I didn't think of that. Honestly, have always thought that King's very comparable to Peterson just performance wise, especially King's freshman year was better than Peterson's stats for stats.
mhm.
But yeah, just in that sentence. That's the first time it's actually clicked, and that's happening next year at Florida.
Yeah.
11.7 pick'em. Let's move on to that. I mean, to wrap it up, the statement I think your betting purposes should be on Cal Poly. They've been the better team in the Big West. They've actually played the better competition in the Big West so far, and they're 10-2. And Barbara's had a couple of hiccups already, but I do believe that when we talk about the 11.7 pick'em here, let's just continue the talk on the series. Over the course of 3 games, I'm gonna take the Gauchos on the road in San Luis Obispo, but I don't feel great about it. But ultimately, what it comes down to for me, my ultimate tiebreaker is I believe that good arms can quiet good bats on any given day or any given weekend, and UC Santa Barbara's pitching staff is loaded. So I'm going Gauchos, but I know that may not be the most popular pick right now with how they've played offensively the last 10 games, JP.
No, you made a perfect point. Exactly the point I was gonna make is like the one thing that can quiet a red hot team with a red hot lineup is a really good pitching staff. And yeah, it feels like this is like you said, Santa Barbara's had a couple scuffles and they kind of need to get rolling. And when you got Jackson, Florida on a Friday, I know we talked about maybe Florida State wins Friday and Virginia bounces back and wins the series. We've talked about that with a couple teams, but traditionally I'd say if you win a Friday, you got a really good shot to win the series. So I'm with you. I'm on the Gauchos, but I don't really love it at all.
Let's do it the same way we structured it with 11.7, because I do believe that Ben is correct. We're talking about the way that we've always done it on this show too, is top to bottom, but that's the best series of the year at the top of the screen on 11.7.com. So Florida State, Virginia, we talked about this one at the top too. And you recently just mentioned or referenced it, like game 1 could go very differently than the entire series. With Wes Mendez on the mound for Florida State, they feel the need to make a statement that, hey, we can still win baseball games against quality opponents without our best hitter. But at the same time, I do believe that this is going to be a statement weekend for Virginia, and that's more of hunch and analysis rather than pure handicapping and analyzing the series. So for me, I'm going Virginia. They've been 12-2 at the dish this season, so I think they win 2-3. The douche. I combined disharoon and douche.
The douche. Yeah, I always rock with the Noles, if I'm being honest. They're one of those programs that kind of like does it for me. I think the chop, I've mentioned it, the chop for homers is the coolest thing ever. I love Link Jarrett. And yeah, I'm going with the Noles. I think this is a toss-up series. It's going to be a gritty. I mean, this is going to be one of the better series to watch in college baseball for sure. And yeah, I'm going with the Noles.
All right. We've got 2 back-to-back SEC series here. Arkansas, Auburn. We both touched on this series a little bit more as well. Like, this is one where I feel Auburn, after getting swept against Alabama, their in-state rival, at home, I think they respond, get a series win, but I could see it going the other way. And at the end of the weekend, the narrative is Arkansas got away from Fayetteville for the weekend. They refound themselves and they won the series. But for me, I'm going Auburn. I feel a little bit more confident in the Tigers pitching staff right now than I do Arkansas's. How about you?
Yeah, this one's so tough, like narrative wise, right? Like for both teams. But I'm also going with Auburn, just as good as, I mean, I know last week wasn't great and especially not in the midweek, but as good as that pitching staff's been against an Arkansas lineup that hasn't quite figured it out yet, I got to side with Auburn here.
All right. And then this was the series that I was most confident in of the 6. Georgia is at the dude against Mississippi State. I'm going with the Bulldogs. Like I think their offense has been just as good as Georgia statistically, and they've played better
Which
competition.
Bulldogs?
You're right. Mississippi State's lineup has been just as good as Georgia's lineup has been statistically, and State has played the better competition throughout the year, especially in non-conference. So I'm going with Hail State at home at the Dude. Again, huge series, top 5 teams in the country right now. I'm selling stock a little bit on Georgia. I think they're a great team. I don't think they're a top 5 team. So we're selling stock on Georgia. Give me Hail State. And Mr. Been to the Dude in person himself, you're giving me thumbs up. What's your thoughts here?
No, I'm just totally with you. Like I'm not even biased. Like Georgia, and I'm so glad you pointed that out and brought it up on the 11.7 show as far as the strength of schedule, because like I feel like it was a decent amount stronger
Yeah.
than Georgia's. Like it was definitely worth saying. But no, again, like this is a Georgia team to me that is better than last year, but not good enough on the pitching side of things, and a little bit at times too reliant on the long ball in a small ballpark. Like this Mississippi State team does everything well, and yeah, they're running into the best atmosphere in college baseball with a loaded pitching staff and a loaded lineup, and that team's also red hot. And yeah, I think you got to be all over Hail State in this one, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's the most confident pick I've got. How about this one? This one's a battle between the 2 top teams in the Big 12 this weekend. This series, I think, was um, I can't remember. UCF is currently atop the standings at 8-1 in the Big 12. West Virginia's nipping at their heels at 7-2. For me, I think the Mountaineers built a little bit of momentum in the desert, winning the last 3 games there against Arizona State and Arizona. They got up for that weekend on the road at Arizona State, who was previously the number 1 team in the Big 12. Now they host the number 1 team in the Big 12, and it's like their first big home series. And I think Morgantown's going to be up for the challenge.
Oh yeah.
And will be at the ballpark. West Virginia's been very solid on both sides of the ball. They don't really stand out on either one, but I do think that strong pitching staff and Saban's has the thing rolling. So I'm going Dub V. What's your pick in this matchup?
Yeah, I'm on the Mountaineers here. UCF, they've put up really good numbers, and I feel like they've been like there's a balance between people giving them some credit and also people saying like they haven't played anybody and whatever. And I just think like OK State, yeah, they swept them at home, but like I don't know. I think we could find out some more about that team later on in the year. Like there's some talent on that roster. That's why I'm heading out to Stillwater to watch them this weekend. So I'm excited to see them in person. But yeah, I think this fan base of West Virginia just got done watching their boys win the series on national television out in Arizona. And they're going to be fired up to host the number 1 team in the conference. I love Coach Saban's. Fun fact, he was actually, I don't know if I should say that, but I'll tell you after. I'll tell you
All
off
right,
here.
yeah, I'm interested now.
It's nothing crazy. It's just like I don't feel comfortable saying it. But
you dropped the nugget of I think I know where you're going actually with that. No. So anyways, changing the subject to the nugget that you dropped. Oklahoma State, first off, hosting Cincinnati. So one reason why JP's heading out there. Is that the closest Big 12 baseball school to you?
So no. BYU's like 7.5 hours. Oklahoma State's like 8.5. And
Okay.
then like Kansas and Kansas State are around that distance too. So
I have not been there, but I have heard that Oberate is a fantastic facility. Oklahoma State, for whatever reason, randomly traveled to Michigan to play in a weekend series, and Schubert's from Michigan, Nolan Schubert.
okay.
So I was there for all 3 days, and I sat next to the SID from Oklahoma State all 3 days, and we just chopped it up, and that place sounds like it's phenomenal. So
Yeah, that was circled on my list at the beginning of this year. Guys like that I had played with, like we went down to Florida. I've talked about it, and I thought that was like super, super impressive. And like guys that were on the team a year or two after me liked this place better. So, as far as I've been trying to do one Big 12 road trip since I'm somewhat out in Big 12 country, a
yeah,
little bit. So, this one was circled on my list, and yeah, I'm excited to check that place out.
cool, cool. Yeah, since we're talking weekend plans, I'm gonna sneak over to Michigan is hosting Oregon.
Yeah,
So it's one of my only I usually or I shouldn't say usually because it's only year 2 with all of them in it, but, last year I was able to see USC, Oregon, and UCLA that all came into the area, and, I'm hopefully gonna try to do that again, but I missed UCLA because they played at, Ohio State, early in March, and it was, like, 40 degrees. I'm like, "I'm not doing it."
say I did lock that in as a plan as well. So my fiance's brother coaches basketball at UCLA, which I think I've mentioned, but we'll be going out there, and it happens to be when they host Oregon. So I'm definitely going to pop over and catch one of those
Good
games.
series. Good series. Let's talk about UCLA baseball here a little bit. As they are hosting the series of the weekend. Yeah, there's a top 5 series in the SEC going on. But
Wait,
I
or
do
oh,
think the betting odds of minus 270 tell the story of how we expect Mississippi State against Georgia. USC, UCLA betting odds probably the same way, but just the fact that these are 2 traditional baseball brands that haven't necessarily been in the light as much as Mississippi State and Georgia have been recently, and how good UCLA is perceived to be this season up against the upstart USC team that kind of cracked into the NCAA tournament last year, made an appearance in the regional final. And then the pitching staff's been unfreaking believable, and they're only going to go up against the best lineup in the country with UCLA. So yeah, this thing's heading down, thrown down in Westwood. It's a combined 50. What is it? A combined 55 and 3, 55 and 55 and 5 record between the two teams. Just 5 losses. I'll let you lead. USC, UCLA. I'm super excited to watch this series this weekend.
I am too, but I want to start with this. Do we actually think this is the series of the year? Or what's the reasoning behind this?
The reasoning I think for
If it's the
the
narrative of the teams and like UCLA and USC being like so-called back,
do I think that it's going to be the biggest series of the year? Like the SEC's got the potential to give us a 1v2 or a 1v3 at one point this year. I'm totally aware. I think it's just the fact that USC I think is close to being for real, and we're all excited about the Trojans getting back
yeah.
and just how good UCLA is this year. But is it going are we going to look back at the end of the year and say this is the series of the year? No, I don't think so. But
Okay, that's what I just wanted to ask, and because I feel the same way.
also
It's
I think
also
what
it's like how many
hurts
times is UCLA gonna get tested in the Big Ten, right? Like,
true.
not that it's bad. Like, there's some teams playing really well right now
Yeah.
in the Big Ten, so I don't want to hate on them, but it's like,
Also, what I think what hurts this series from being the series of the year, all 3 games might be on Big Ten Plus, and like
yeah,
college baseball fans don't 50% of them like they all know to get ESPN Plus. Half of them are like, "Oh, it's the Big Ten. There's no good games every." There's like 50% of college baseball fans that have Big Ten Plus. So
well, dude, my fiance's family has a Big Ten Plus subscription, like for basketball, and it won't let me watch the baseball games. You have to have like a baseball subscription. It's terrible. Like, I got on to watch UCLA. I was like, "Oh shit, I can watch UCLA," and like, nope.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I've got
Brutal.
I'll show you what my setup is, what I'm rocking with that I'm able to watch the games. But yeah, Big Ten Plus for the first two games, and then the Sunday game is on Big Ten Network.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to win it?
Oh shoot. Yeah. To my analysis. Forgot about that part. You said it. Really good pitching staff against the best lineup in the country, and the only thing that could slow down hot bats, as we've talked about, is really good arms. And I think that's what the potential you have to see this weekend is. I personally would love to see like an old school West Coast, like give me like three, like 5-3 ball games, just low scoring, um, big hits and big spots, some small ball. But I just don't know if USC has the firepower to match up with this UCLA offense when it comes down to
Yeah.
it. Like
Rock Chalosky and Will Gasparino don't prefer to play West Coast style baseball games.
No, they don't. So like I don't think we're gonna see that, but it'd be awesome. But yeah, I am on the Bruins here.
Okay.
They're at home. You gotta side with that lineup. It's one of the few lineups that you would take against like a lights out pitching staff, right? Like usually I'd always side with the pitching. But this is just one of those lineups. And like UCLA's pitching's been damn good too. Like they're
Yeah.
just I will say this though. I was about to tweet it. I didn't want to get a bunch of hate. They handled UC Irvine last night, but I did say 19 game win streak playing UC Irvine and the USC Trojans in 3 games. They do not get out of this week undefeated. And if they do, I'm very impressed.
Yeah. That's a good point too. Helps me because I picked USC in this series, and I more so did it for game theory with the
Mhm.
pick 'em pool and whatever. I think I would give UCLA a 65%, 70% chance of winning 2 of the 3 games in this series, maybe if not more. But I do believe that the pool, the pick 'em pool, all you have to do is pick the winners of the games. The easy part is to pick all the chalk, especially if you're trailing like me behind the pack. To make up some ground is to get a leverage player to throw those out there. And I do think that there is an outside chance that USC's elite pitching staff comes to the ballpark ready to play. And actually, last weekend in Maryland, they didn't necessarily, uh, have the greatest conditions. It was like sleet and 40 degrees. I think there's an opportunity for both of them to I'm talking about Edwards and Govell that both didn't have characteristic outings compared to how dominant they've been so far this year. There's a chance in Sunny and 85 in Westwood that these guys go out there and they have nice bounce back outings and USC wins the series and 90% of the pool is on it. I said 70% of the I would say UCLA has a 70% chance to win. Gives me about 20% leverage of the pool. So nerd stuff there, but I'm going USC because I do believe everything that we've talked about with the elite pitching and whatnot. Let's move on to
I was gonna say last thing is like winning 19 baseball games in a row is really hard. And when you do that and play a good team, like I'm with you. I could see it happening. But I don't have any sweat in the game. I did not get in the pick 'em this year. I slacked on that. So I'm going with the Bruins.
I love Dookie saying good morning, Jack Fucks.
Say it's still
Dookie's one of
11
the real
p.m. for
ones.
me.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy's in mountain time. And 1 a.m. is nothing. That's when we're starting our college basketball show. And that's the joke from Dookie there. But yeah, so let's move on to the card for the weekend. And it's something that doing the college basketball show before the baseball show today, didn't get a ton of time to run through and place anything. I have not placed any of my bets yet, but my favorite 2 locks and a dog from me were Florida minus 135, and actually staying in the Sunshine State there, Florida State minus 120. Favorite dog from looking at it was Arizona at plus 250. Um, with the rivalry factor for me, it was enough to jump in on the Wildcats, as Arizona State's gotten a lot of the buzz, I think, uh, for so far in the state, baseball wise. And Arizona State, not really, I would say they've, gosh, I'm stumbling over words. Arizona State scuffled last week against West Virginia. I think some there's a possibility for some negative, um, uh, carryover into the next
Mhm.
weekend. And Arizona's ready to go. They're at home in Tucson. Plus 250, I think, is too nice of a price on the dog there. I had to go in on the Wildcats. JP, your favorite locks, or you call them hammers, but what are your favorite bets of the day tomorrow? And I know you're a moneyline parlay guy as well, so go ahead.
Yeah, I was say I just hate the phrase lock because I know some
Yeah,
people take that very, very seriously, and it scares me. But yeah, I'm with you. My hammer right now is Florida money line. I'm also on Florida State minus 120. I did place Auburn money line minus 130, and then for a dog, I don't hate that Duke plus 115. I think it's worth a shot. And then also San Diego State kind of stuck out to me. They host Air Force tomorrow plus 135. And I think that's just a similar trend of like a, a better pitching staff against more of an offensive team who's had some success. So
yeah,
I like them on a Friday night at home there. And then my money line parlay that I have placed, I don't know how much I love it. I honestly like. There's a lot of these heavy favorites that I think are like it's just not there for me. On
not
like they
worth the
could,
squeeze.
yeah, they could easily lose. But three that I'm willing to take the loss on right now. I'm going with Oregon State and Dax Whitney on a Friday against Lamar, and Jacksonville State to bounce back from that midweek loss from Bama. They host Middle Tennessee, and then Coastal Carolina hosts South Alabama at home, which for me, I respect South Alabama. I've kind of rode them a few times, but I like the pitching over the South Alabama can put up runs. I've taken them in midweeks, but
Hmm.
I like the pitching there. So that comes out to those three are at plus 110, which it's good enough for me. And that'll probably be it on the money line parlays and the heavy favorites. I think I might try to pick a couple totals.
Yeah,
I'm
there
going to
were a couple
try
of
my
turtles
best.
angles that I loved that we ran through. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I may try my best to like I know I said at the beginning of the year like I was gonna try to do like some shorter, more concise cards, and I just can't help myself. I just love playing everything. So considering that I'm like 500, I may try to actually pull it down to like
Nah.
I'll cap at 5 or 6. Like that's still having fun. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Alrighty. Yeah, we'll both have our best and favorite bets posted tomorrow on Twitter. I'll be more consistent as I won't be staying up till 3 a.m. posting basketball podcasts throughout the season. So I'll be able to wake up early enough to post picks on Saturday morning and Sunday morning throughout the season. Next week, back to the original schedule, looking at like a 9:30, 10 o'clock start time for the baseball show moving forward for the rest of the season. So, JP, safe travels. And best of luck to your Bearcats this weekend in Stillwater. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have one thing I wanted to point out for people and you. I don't know if you have tried using this, but that Diamond Baseball Stats app that I know we've talked about, it's live on the App Store. And as far as overs, if you click on one of the matchups, and scroll down here and go over to field.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not showing it on the camera, but it'll actually show like a pretty accurate representation of the wind and weather and stuff. As far as I don't know, I've used it a couple of times to try to play some wind, and I mean, this is a great one right here. It's saying pregame Mississippi State in Starkville has a carry of 20 feet straight out the dead center. So I know we got some Friday night arms, but with two really good lineups, you could look at it over there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That app has let's just say has I would say sent shockwaves throughout the industry because just unprecedented access for the casual fans to a lot of stuff there. So very cool from Diamond. And yeah, so you can follow JP at headfirst_pod for his podcast there and all the social clips that they do from the interviews and their game day pre-game show. You can follow him on social at JP Spawn_590. You can follow me at NoahB77_. You can follow the show at TCE on SGPN. And leave a rating, review, subscribe wherever you listen to the podcast, and hit subscribe here on YouTube. For that, this has been the College Baseball Experience. You better start thinking about yours, and we are out of here.